How is everybody today? Or not good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon. How is everybody today? I'm coming on early or the normal. Um Finally come to a particular milestone in my just give me a second, let me set up here. I hate talking while I do other things. I don't know how other people do that. I cannot focus as I do other things. I don't know how people do it. There we go. I know everybody is going through the same things that I'm going through. Of course, we are all going through some kind of nonsense at this point. What can we do about it, right? But ride the wave. So first thing I'm gonna do, I have these new cards. Well, they're not that new, but I have these cards that I kind of, they're flower cards. Oop, 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 too many cards fell. They kind of give me some sort of, let's see what that one says. Somehow I pull these, they're like motivational quotes on, they're motivational quotes on this cards. And the first time I pulled it, it seemed to be the theme of the reading. So like, not the reading, but the live. So let me see what this one says. I'm just gonna go with it. Thankfulness for understanding. Before we can forgive one another, we have to understand one another. And this is from Emma Goldman. So this is thankfulness for understanding. And this is a hydrangea on this card. And that's odd that this is the card that comes up today, because this is a reading that not a reading, but a message that I've been promising to do. And this is a very necessary message. Now, a lot of what goes on with gang stalking is walking the middle path. The middle path is a very difficult path to walk. The middle path is an extremely difficult path to walk. It is a path where it is like having an assignment and being very professional about what it is that you have to do. So I liken it to, say for example, I liken it to being like, let's say, a doctor who has to diagnose people and not be judgmental about it, not look at it personally, not call people out on things unnecessarily, kind of like that. Like, so let me put it into this perspective. I used to work in insurance. So it used to be I used to sell benefit plans to people, to companies. And sometimes, when I worked on the individual side, well, I did both. When working on the individual side, you'd have to ask people extremely personal questions. And of course, these are human beings, so there's all kinds of answers. So, somebody may have had an illness, somebody may live a transient lifestyle, whatever the case is. And doesn't matter what answer a person gives, it's like eventually you get to the point where you get desensitized by the answers. So if somebody says, yes, I used to have an STD, yes, I have had, relations that are this, yes, I have done this or done that, it's like you kind of, in the beginning, you'd kind of like leave someone and in your head you'd be like, whoa, I wouldn't think this person would be involved in this, or whatever the case is. And then you eventually get to a point where you don't even think about it. You're just thinking about, how is this going to impact the rate? How are you going to get around getting this approval anyway? What are you going to say to like work on their behalf to try to get them the best rate that they can, etc., etc. So you stop looking at people on a personal level, if you will. You stop looking at, well, I wouldn't think that someone who makes this much money or lives this lifestyle or whatever would be like this. And then you start just looking at your job. Like, because you meet so many people that have the same answer, that do the same thing, and then you just get desensitized to it. Walking the middle path in life, it's like that. It's like just basically not being too personally wrapped up or engaged in what people are experiencing. It's like trying to get something done without having hate, being persecuted by people without looking at every single individual with malice, so that you can get something done strategically without it getting personal and messy and nasty. So if you're kind of looking at it, like, how do I find justice for myself? How do I get myself out of a situation without going overboard, without doing things that are unnecessary? So if I'm faced in a battle and someone is attacking me, how do I get myself to a point where I am not just doing things to do things? I'm not just saying, I want your pets to pass away, I want your house to burn down, I want you to suffer forever and ever. This does not directly correlate with your end goal. Your end goal is to get out of a situation. You have a specific goal, and though it may require you to, because you are at war, though it may require you to utilize walking in your shadow self, you're not existing in your shadow. You're not staying there. You're not becoming a dark version of yourself. You're not personally hating people. You have to stop yourself when you feel you want to get to that point. Very difficult, very, very, very difficult, because the people that persecute you, they almost want you to hate them. They kind of want you to hate them, to be honest with you. They do. So let me talk about, and I talk about this from the perspective of being gang stalked to be a drug mule, which is a different kind of gang stalking. It's not just a gang stalking to be to the end of destroying you and leaving you alone. They want to destroy you, take everything from you so that they can rebuild you back as a drug mule, keep you dependent on them for absolutely everything. And that will be your new life. So first of all, people that are in these kinds of high control groups, these groups that want to rebuild you back, the same way God would knock you off of the old life that you have, clear out your old life and bring you into a new life. This is a cult. This is a cult-like environment, an environment that there is a clear leader or a clear leading group, an environment where people rule through fear and intimidation and manipulation and very clear lies. This is a cult. So let me talk about, guys, I'm so sorry about my hair. This is what happens to black girl hair when it is dry. When it is wet, it is nice and curly. When it is dry, it doesn't want to cooperate. It has a mind of its own. So please, I apologize. I apologize. And it shrinks. So forgive my appearance. Anyway, let me read the definition of what a cult is. A cult is a group which is totally led by a charismatic and self-appointed leader who tightly controls its members, requiring unwavering devotion to a set of beliefs and practices which are considered deviant. This is a system of religious veneration and devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. A relatively small group of people having beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. A misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. I just want to let you guys know, whenever I have lives or I'm meditating or I'm praying, this is when my poor cat starts up, making a lot of noise, doing a lot of things. So just bear with me. It's always distractions, but we get the message out there. So this is what a cult is. It's a very tightly controlled group. They micromanage. They don't just manage, they micromanage. They rule through domination. And when you want to leave, when you want to take your power back, when you want to do better for yourself, they are content with annihilating you totally and completely. But not with just to annihilate you to no longer exist. They want to annihilate you where you realize that you can't leave and then submit back to the group. There usually is some sort of spell work, lower sort of practice, lower energetic practice. There's some sort of energy manipulation that happens there as well. This is what happens to drug mules. You realize very quickly that that one time you agreed to do something, try it out, where you thought, I'll try this and I'll leave, you're locked. You're locked in, you're binded in. This is the same as gang stalking. It's the same end to gang stalking. So you just wanted to make a little extra cash on the side and now you're stuck. Now you're not getting out of it. And you don't understand that that's what's occurring. So let me kind of paint a picture for people to understand what I'm saying. So let's say, for example, I'm going to talk about Walking Dead because I feel like this is a zombie-like environment in every way, shape, or form. So you're in The Walking Dead. There's a particular episode actually of Walking Dead that I want to talk about. Give me a second. I don't know why I never did this noise before I start. Give me a minute. One thing I swear my lives can go ahead and have lately is a ton of distractions, which is so aggravating, but it is what it is as long as we get the job done. So I think about this episode in Walking Dead that goes like this. These people have been fighting on the road for forever. Every day is a fight, every day is a struggle. Every day they have to find safe places to sleep. They have to find places to rest. They have to find food. They have to watch more and more of their members pass away. It is a struggle. They are dirty. They are a mess. They're always in anxiety. And then they happen upon a community. First of all, as they're driving in, their tires get popped because there is that layer of protection around the community. They get into these situations with people and they walk up to this, let's say, enclosed community. They drive up. Like I said, their tires are popped, so that's an issue. They're held up at the gate at gunpoint. As soon as they come in, they're told, well, you could come in and talk to us, but you got to relinquish your weapons because this is how we keep ourselves safe. They meet a very friendly, charismatic leader who talks to them. They come in, it's safe, birds are chirping in here, the sun's shining, the grass is green. They get in, they're given a tour. They see that these people have stock rooms of food. They see that these people have medical supplies and a nurse and a doctor on staff. They even have a dentist. They see these people have a church space for praying. It's very peaceful. Everybody has their own home. Everybody has their own bed. Everybody's given a house. They have even ammunition. They have a stock room for the ammunition, etc., etc., etc. They're like, you're welcome to stay if you'd like. They're like, in any case, it's getting dark right now, so you probably should stay the night. So, of course, these people are tired. Their tires are already popped. They're like, don't worry, we'll help you fix the tires tomorrow. You can go on your way. That evening, as they're in their house, there's hot water, there's electricity. They can have their first shower in maybe a year or two. They bring over food for these people. These people are having a nice warm soup, fresh baked bread, fruits, cigarettes, liquor, things they haven't seen in a very long time. This place is like a paradise. This place is peaceful. The leader, Rick, is sitting there and he's watching his people in comfort and his peace and in peace, right? Like finally, he has 2 children. There's even a bassinet or a crib for the baby. Everybody's happy. He's uncomfortable with something in the pit of his stomach, but he's not sure what it is. There's always something weird going on. It's like, not weird, not super, super, super weird, just a little bit off. It's something that as a vigilant person or a person who uses their intuition, that you start taking note of it. Like, I'm standing here and I feel an eye on me and I look over and it's someone watching me, but when I look at them, they put on a little fake smile and I give them a little fake smile, and it's easy to think nothing of it. So you keep going, but there's something going on, and there's locked doors and nobody goes in these rooms type of energy. And you're like, okay, it seems a bit too good to be true, but everybody else is happy. Everybody else loves it. Everybody else thinks it's a great time. Everybody here is so nice. You go through the second day and now they're showing you a plot of land, like, Rick, I really like you. I always like you. I want to put you, we've been waiting for somebody else. We have this whole plot of land here. We'd love for you to develop it. Take it over. You can build your own houses, plant your own food, put up your own energy grid, put up your own well. And all you got to do is support us. Let me know how you feel about it. Oh, but by the way, it's getting late again, so you might as well spend another night, right? What's the rush? What's the rush? Is there something out there that you got to go get? So you spend a second night, and this night, instead of soup, you get a pot roast, or maybe just a roast, actual like turkey or whole chicken or whatever. And you get vegetables on a bed of potatoes, and they're bringing fresh baked desserts and all of this. They're bringing wine to drink with this. Everybody's even happier the second night, and now your team, your group is pressuring you. The children are pressuring you, like, we should really stay. This is nice. This is better than being on the road. We don't have to worry about anything while we're here. You can't really sleep easy that night. The next morning you wake up and you've made up your mind something's not right here, and you don't want to wait to find out what it is. You've been through enough and you think you're better on your own. And now they're stopping you. They're stopping you from leaving. You guys have packed all your bags first thing in the morning and you're headed towards the exit, and they're stopping you from leaving. They're blocking your way at the entrance. And you cannot leave. You guys can't leave. You don't have your weapons. And now you realize that those meals that they gave you, those meals are just for new members. Everybody that's there needs to fend for themselves somehow. Nobody gets pot roast. Nobody gets fresh bread and desserts. That's just for people that they're luring into the community, because this community is being built by force. When people realize what's actually going on here, nobody wants to stay. So now they're all barricading you guys. Now you got to fight your way out. So what does Rick and his group have to do? Because they are fighters. They've been fighting for a long time. They have to raid the room with all the ammunition. They have to take a whole bunch of food supplies on their way out. The tire out there, by the way, is still popped. They have to fight their way out. So now, what was once a group that had some sort of order and harmony to it, they have to destabilize this group in order to leave, because these people want to lock them in here. They want to trap them. This group is sadistic. This is a sadistic group. They probably eat people that don't want to stay. I don't remember what the episode is like. This is what it's like with this cult of gang stalkers. When you're a gang stalker, this is exactly what it's like metaphorically. You have to fight your way out. Maybe you don't know that because maybe you haven't left yet. Maybe they just give you just enough. And so they start out giving you full fruit baskets and full pot roast while you're there, and incrementally they pull back until one day they're like, what are you talking about? You don't get any fruit. You don't get any food. Figure it out. This is how it works. And then you realize, oh my goodness, I'm stuck. And now you're even less motivated to leave because you've seen what you've done to other people. You've seen gang stalking people, and people go from normal, happy-go-lucky, healthy, middle-class people with jobs and nice homes and security, all the way to homeless, all the way to losing their mind, all the way to you're gang stalking them on the street. And it's at the point where possibly maybe some of you guys are looking at each other like, this is so wrong. This is so terrifying. Maybe you guys don't say to each other, maybe you keep the masks on with each other and you laugh like this is funny, but you go home at night and you're frozen like, what have I gotten myself into? And there's that sinking feeling where you just cannot believe what is going on. It is a nightmare. And you cannot believe how evil people really are. You can't believe that people are really doing this. And all of a sudden, the money's not worth it. None of it is worth it. And I don't know how people have to make themselves feel better about participating in this. Maybe they can walk out on the streets and pretend. But you know, these people are so good at reminding you of what you're in. They're reading your energy. And so as you go out the next day and you try to spend some of this money, there's somebody in the corner lurking, watching you in such a way that you know that they're watching you. And the person cashing you out lets you know that we're watching you. And when you go to the washroom, there's somebody that maybe closes the door in such a way and looks at you to let you know that we're watching you. And when you get home, something shifts around in your home to let you know that we were in here. And they do something and the other thing, and they're following you and they're tracking you, and you know that you cannot get out of this. How are you going to get out of this? And just by virtue of participating in a bunch of this stuff, you've really lost spiritual protection, spiritual connection. I talk a lot about how people are binded into this situation spiritually, how they cannot find their way out, how they pray and prayers are not being answered, prayers are not being heard. So yeah, it's a very terrifying situation. And now you wish that you were outside fighting zombies because you're comparing the two situations like what is worse. So you actually look at people that are persecuted and you kind of wonder like, would I prefer to be there? Because nobody's calling them at 6 a.m. and saying you better get out there and go follow this person. Nobody's gang stalkers know what they're in after a while. It's only fun in the beginning. You can tell the new members from the ones who are not new. You can tell the new ones from the seasoned ones. You can tell the ones that are very new, the ones who had to be gang stalked to get in, to be forced in through gang stalking, don't want to do that to other people either. They begrudgingly do it. They don't do it very well. They do it in a non-intimidating way so that the person that they're doing it to knows, I don't want to be a part of this. That's how they do it. Those are the ones that were gang stalked to get in, so they understand what's going on. They just had no choice. These are the ones I have the most affection for personally, because it's like re-victimization. They victimize you to get in, and now they're forcing you to do it. That's what I would have been had I not stood my ground. I would have been one of those that I got gang stalked. That was a welcoming committee, the welcoming committee, gang stalking me so that I can gang stalk other people. That's where they wanted to get me. And they would have used any means, slander, intimidation, whatever they had to do, they would have used it, and they were using it. But I held on, and my no is firm. And I die with that no. I die with it. I don't care what I have to face. I will never relinquish my freedom and control over my life. Then they're the ones that they got taken advantage of because of their greed, or because they needed something from someone, or because there was something of benefit that they wanted. And those ones think it's a good time until they realize that it's not a good time. Until the day that they say, I don't feel like going out today. You know what? Thank you for the opportunity, but I don't feel like I want to do it. And they're like, what? You're going to get out there and you're going to go do it. And then they get their turn in the gang stalking circle, and they realize, like, it's like a light bulb went off. Like, wait, of course they were doing it to other people. Why would they not be able to do it to me? And I feel like a lot of the times, nobody gets to see the bird eye view except the ones who are seriously corrupt, except the ones at the top. They're the ones that know the full system, or most of it. Chief gang stalkers know that how this works. Nobody is above. I don't care how much money they have. Money means nothing in this world. You have money, they can take money from you. That's the easiest thing. They drain it out of you. That's nothing. Power and connections means nothing. They can take all of that from you. That is nothing. In this world right here, you're gonna, once you come in, you're gonna follow the rules or else. And you know how it goes for other people because you've seen it with other people. This is how it works. So you realize at this point that you are in a cult-like setting, and that nothing really is as it seems. This is a facade. This is fake. So now you're just adjusting to your new reality. You've realized that these people have police connections, they have court connections, they have lawyers in pocket, they have whatever it is that they need. As a matter of fact, as intimidation, and this happened to me early on, they send the police to intimidate you. They send the police to warn you. So this is supposed to send the indication that, look, as a police officer, we're not going to take your reports. We're not going to take your reports seriously. Nothing's going to happen. Please just follow the rules. Just abide. My answer is always no. I don't care. Because I see spiritual law is above all of us. Whatever they're doing here, they're using lower spiritual practices to do this. And there are forces higher than those lower spiritual practices that they're using. One thing that I know is nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, is above spiritual law. You have to be really careful when people think that they're above karma. When people think that, no, we can get out of karma. Karma's not real. Those are deadly demons. And that's demons that give people those kind of ideas, because it is not true. Nothing is above spiritual law. No action goes unseen. No thought goes unheard. No intention goes unnoticed. When you're in a cult-like environment and you got to get out, you got to fight your way out. You do not beg your way out. You do not plead your way out. You have to fight your way out. You have to earn your way out. And on your way out, they're going to chase you out. And you might be on a high-speed chase for a while until you get away from them. This is how it works. So the question now becomes, how badly do you want your freedom? Now, you have to look at, like, what is your main objective? If your main objective here is freedom, you have to understand that freedom is the most valuable thing that you're gonna have in this life. If people are gonna go to war, they're gonna go to war for freedom. That is how valuable freedom is. Freedom is a thing that is worth it to go to war. Think about how many wars are fought over freedom. And that's what you got to do. You can't wait for, when you're in this thing, you can't wait, well, I hope someone gets rid of the leadership and then I can escape. No, you have to earn it yourself. You have to earn your own freedom. You got to fight your way out. And once freedom becomes the main objective and getting out becomes the main objective, this is the place from which you strategize your exit plan. This is the place from which you beat your way out. This is how you walk the middle path. So things that have nothing to do with freedom, things that have nothing to do with you leaving there are not your concern. In the example that I gave, possibly it might make sense to burn down the entire village before they leave, to disable them from being able to realign themselves and coming after you. But if it doesn't help to that benefit, like if it doesn't work towards the objective, then it is a waste of your effort. Possibly it might make sense for you to say, well, we're going to burn down their walls of protection. We're going to take their ammunition, because not only do we need this ammunition and these the artillery for ourselves, but doing it for the sake of doing it out of a place of hate doesn't help you. It's almost like you have to be a professional and you have to work from the position of, this works towards my objective, not just I'm going to turn into a dark person who's going to go on a dark mission to punish people for the sake of punishing people. It is very important to walk that middle path as you make strategic moves that work towards your freedom. That is very important. So there is no price to freedom financially. There is no cost to that. It doesn't matter how much money you're given. It doesn't matter how much pseudo power, fake power you're given. None of it matters. Freedom is priceless. Freedom here, everything else below it. They're going to promise you with things because your freedom, your good karma, your destiny, your life path is more worth it to them than whatever money they give you. And you got to understand that money is an energy that can be created. Money can be duplicated. Whatever money they give you to gang stalk is nothing. It is so worth it. It is so worth it because you're giving them something that is priceless, control over your life. You're relinquishing control over your life. And by you thinking, oh, well, they're so big, what is the point, etc., etc., the point is making it difficult for people to put you in a box and people to control you. That is the point. The point is never laying yourself down. If you deal with people that you cannot control, you'll see what the point is. You will see what the point is. They don't want you to be difficult to control. They want you to just lay back and make it easy for them to take over your life and take over whatever you have going on. You have to remember that wars are expensive, and that means that there are going to be casualties. And usually when people are fighting, they're just scared. They just want to come here and complain. They want to tell you all about what happens in gang stalking. Gang stalking is this, gang stalking is that. They take all the losses while the gang stalkers are laughing and nobody's losing anything. See, when nobody's losing anything, it's easy for people to gang stalk you because they don't have to think twice about anything. All you're going to do is get on the internet and complain. Get on the internet and tell people about what's going on. Get on the internet and cry. Nothing that is hurting anybody else. You're not giving anybody any kind of information that is making it hard for them to gang stalk others. You're not giving anybody information that frees other people where they're like, oh shoot, this person is developing a following and is actually giving people information that is going to not just make it hard for me to gang stalk this person, but other people. Other people are getting to know this person or of this person. And this is becoming a resource. People have to be wary of you when they go to war against you. You have to make yourself a formidable opponent even if you are one person. You gotta be a person that it's not fun to come after you. That people know when they come after you, there is guaranteed losses they have to take. They have to think 5, 6, 7, 8 times. They have to be in a group and be like, you go, no, you go, no, you go. Even if you live in a cave and you got hair that looks like this, and you go out and catch your own food, they gotta say, if we go close to this camp, you know what you gotta do? It's almost like you gotta get heads of a couple of them, hopefully the leaders, and you gotta pitch a stake in front of your cave with a head of a leader. That's at your gate. That's at the top of the wall. They gotta come up to your wall and be like, wait, isn't that, oh my gosh, that person went missing. That's what, you gotta, it's almost like you gotta pin their head. Every time they try, you gotta get a head and stick it on the wall to make others who come close to this wall worry about what is behind this wall. If you don't make an example, and if you don't do that, people are gonna think this cave is a free-for-all. They could just come in. There are gonna be those who say this person is evil, they're a witch, they're a rabid animal, they're all these things. This works to your benefit. Let me tell you, back home, well, I don't know for everybody. I'm from a tropical place, and where I call back home, there's people in the community that nobody plays games with. There's all kinds of rumors about them, that at night, people see them in their windows, that at night they turn into a cat, they turn into a dog, they turn into a cow, that you see them walking the street in the pitch dark. There's all these rumors about them. Nobody wants to be their friend, but nobody wants to be their enemy either. These are people that nobody play with. When people see them walking the street, they're like, good evening, good night. They run the other way. This is respect. And if you cannot have anything else, you gotta have respect. And what does it take to have respect? Endurance, never giving up, a very fierce attitude, and never being able to be negotiated with. You see, because things are funny when people are playing games with you, but when it's their time to get their head taken off, they want to negotiate, they want to apologize, and they want to argue. This is not about that. It's about this head having a position at the wall. So in the beginning, you need heads. You need heads. This is the same thing with the cult. The cult also needs heads. We're gonna do a lot less fighting when we get heads. When we get examples. When you come into the great room of a hunter, there's a lion hair, a deer hair, a rhinoceros hair, and a bear hair. A rabbit head, what's a rabbit? A snake head, a kangaroo head, not that big of a deal, but a bear, a rhinoceros, a lion, a tiger, mounted. What does that say? And then your gun posted right over it. What does that say? That says that I will go take down a lion, a bear, a rhinoceros. That there is no enemy that I'm going to hesitate of taking on. None. No matter what you look like, no matter how cute you look, no matter how nice you are, you have to disabuse people of the notion that niceness, kindness is stupidity. If it was the same thing, it would be one word. There are two words for a reason. Nice is its own word. Kind is its own word. Stupid is its own word. Forgiving is its own word. Tolerant is its own word. These are separate words. And these things could coexist. They don't understand that just because you're cute does not mean you're easy to defeat. Just because you're soft-spoken and kind doesn't mean you're not persistent, relentless, that you don't finish the job. When someone comes to this cave, if they manage to get back out the gate, what does that mean we do? We strap up, we get dead. Nobody survives coming in here is the point. Nobody gets to live and say that they played you and crossed the line and now they're out there. It's not done until it's done. People need to understand that. No apologies from gang stalking at all. No negotiation. We don't even take money. What do you mean take money, take a plea deal, take a couple millions to shut my mouth? Why? I'm living without the millions right now, so that means I'll be just fine without it. The job is not done until the head is on the wall. That's just what it boils down to, by any means necessary. So in this example, the objective is getting the head on the wall. Any action that is not strategically towards getting the head off of the body and on the wall is a waste of your time. I don't care about your dog. I don't care about your cat. I don't care about your cousin. Unless, of course, they're in the middle of the way of getting the head on the wall. That's simple for me. So, when I say to people in my city, stand out of my way, don't get involved, they could do that or they could not do that. I don't care. I don't care. The head will get on the wall. That's the end of that story. This is how it works. You are not trying to escape and get your freedom by running away from conflict, by running away from people who get in your way. You're fighting your way out. You are fighting your way out. And the determination is that you're getting out. So you're taking yourself from defense mode into offense mode. You're the problem. And you have to understand that when you're the problem in the thick of things, in your death and rebirth phase, I talk about the 7 phases of gang stalking. In your death and rebirth phase, you're going to turn from a nice person to something that they wish they never started. Something that results in the community being burnt down, the walls being burnt down, the ammunition room being emptied out completely. We're taking the dust bunnies out of there. We're loading all the food in our truck. We're taking all the medical supplies with us. And it's just a ball of smoke behind us. Flat that village down. Why? Because that's the only way in their mind that they determine you're going to leave. You say to me that that's the only way that I'm going to leave. Fine, so be it. Your wish is my command by any means necessary. Not before I take a couple heads and put them in the back of my truck. I need heads for the top of my truck. I need heads for the top of my wall. I need heads to walk around with. Yeah, they're gonna say that you're crazy. Because you gotta be a little bit crazy to deal with crazy. And I've said this over and over, and this is what it boils down to. This is just how it goes. People do not respect people that they don't have to respect sometimes. Sometimes people are just born disrespectful. It's not about fear. It's not about ego. It's not about making people... You would prefer to be nice because you are nice. That's how you were born. But people are taking something from you that is invaluable. This is a birthright to every human being, is their freedom. God does not take your freedom from you. God advises you. God pushes you. God helps you. Maybe you should do it this way. There's consequences to this. Don't do it that way. But God doesn't beat freedom out of you. So who is another person to beat a freedom out of you? God will support you in your fight for your freedom. This is what I call the middle path. This is a path that you embark on, not out of control emotions of hate. This is a path that you embark on out of calm, out of ease, out of determination, out of tactical skills. So sometimes, yes, you do drive around as a little cute yellow Corolla, and then people try you and it has to be like Autobots. You gotta transform like a transformer. You have to stand up, you know, and let them see a different side. Because right now, the side that they're seeing is very confusing to them. It's misleading. This is how it works when you're stuck in a situation and people give you no choice but to beat your way out. You're at war for yourself. War is not one battle. War is not 1 month. War is years. Any war we've learned about in school, it takes years. People go to war for the long haul, not for the short haul. So get comfortable here. You are now at war. They're gonna fight you. They're gonna go make alliances. They're gonna partner up. They're gonna do whatever it is that they have to do to keep that community together. They want to imprison you in here. So you know what you gotta do. You look at a situation like this and you gotta wonder to yourself, how comes my enemies are not facing any losses, but I'm losing things? Then that's not a war. You're getting your behind handed to you. That's not a war. A war is where there are casualties on both sides. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's a war. A war is where people are getting tired, people are getting exhausted. See, this is the thing. In the beginning, people might think that you're being bullied and you're being abused because you're not saying much. So they see one person against the community or 5 people against the community. So they're taking this whole thing like, we're gonna win this, you know, shortly. This is gonna be fine. They have no idea that you already have the long haul in mind, that you're not going to just leave without burning this place down, that you're not just gonna run for freedom, that you're a vigilante of sorts. By the time they realize that, they're exhausted. They're still fighting a year later. They're still fighting 2 years later. When is she gonna stop? When it's done. When it's done. You know when it's done because you created your objective early on. You're gonna sit there and you're gonna think, but I can't do that. Well, this is what this live's about. I'm gonna tell you how you're gonna do that stuff. I'm gonna tell you how you're gonna do that. If your enemies are not losing and they're fighting you from a place of peace and from a place of a strong command and a place of hold, and you're 3 months in and 6 months in and nobody's lost anything, then you're not at war. You're playing games. You're exhausting yourself, you're losing things, and you're wasting your time. You're in a situation where it's David versus Goliath, and you have a sling and limited pebbles. So sending a pebble to hit a giant in the shoulder, right here, on the arm, on a leg, is a waste of time. Where do you think you want to get the pebble? In an eye? You want to block an eye, maybe both. Maybe here, if it helps. You have to be very strategic with what you have. So that's why I say, what is the point of cutting off an arm and cutting off a leg and doing all of that? What is the point of that? That's wasted effort. You have to be very strategic. You have to make sure that in order for you to get your freedom moving forward, this thing cannot move anymore. It can't move. It needs to be headless. A head could be a leader. A head could be a network. A head could be public respect, public fear. Whatever the head is in your situation, it needs to be headless in order for you to move on. So I talked about strategic prayers. This war is being fought in 2 different places. In the 3D, which is on earth, reality, earthly reality. In the 5D, which is spiritual, the spirit realm, prayer, energy work, spell work, all of the above. There's the 3D, and then there's the 5D, and you're gonna fight in both because you can't afford to leave one without the other. As a matter of fact, you got to bring things in the 5D first. You got to attack things, handle things spiritually first before they manifest in your reality. So you're talking about getting out. You're not getting out of this before you handle things spiritually and untie the knots that they brought you in. You have to understand, how did this start? You drove up to a community that already popped your tires before you got close. So even if you tried to get out the walls, with what vehicle? You relinquished your car keys, or maybe you didn't even know they took your car keys from you. They came in while you were sleeping and took the keys to your vehicle. While you were sleeping, while you were unaware, while you were so full from that great meal and that nice hot shower and the fresh clothes that they brought and the aromatherapy that was going on in the room, you were relaxed, and they came in and they took the rest of what they needed to take off of you. The knife you had tucked away in your shoe after you gave up your guns, all of it, they took all of that. They got rid of the vehicle probably. So even if you do get out, how are you going to run? So these people have been plotting from before you realized you were in a dangerous situation. Every minute you stayed in there, they learned your likes, your dislikes, your social network, the people that you connect with, the people that you're close with. They know it all. They know all your passwords. They know, is she likely to use this in a password versus that? So just in case she changes passwords, well, we can go ahead and guess it. There's all kinds of things that they learn. There's all kinds of things that they learn in the course of you being there for that 48 hours. They already know which member of the family is more likely to be the one that they want to stay. They've already gotten the kids' heads. They've already done all of the above. So you have to really think about, I'm kind of cornered in and they know a lot about me. You have to really start learning about them, and quickly. And you know what? If you've been gang stalking, you know a lot. You know a lot more than the average person. You know how these people get around, how they get around things. You know kind of what connections they have and such. You know a lot of that. Timing is most important. It's not just launching attacks. This is why it needs to be handled from a very strategic place. You're not just launching attacks willy-nilly at people. You're taking your time. You're considering things. What makes sense to do and when? What makes sense to do and how? And you're communicating also with your spiritual team, your ancestors that you've connected to, your spirit guides that you've connected to, whoever it is that you call God by, whatever name that you're connecting to. But you must have spiritual connection because they have spiritual connection. Gang stalking is not happening on the 3D only. I talk about it all the time. The gang stalking doesn't work without the spell work, the anxiety, the paranoia, the spiritual persecution round the clock, the entities that are gang stalking you, the entities that are monitoring you, the monitoring spirits. And if you're on the inside, the spirits that they attach to you to not just follow you, but provoke you at will, to take you from a good mood to a low vibrational mood, to take you from a mood where you're happy to do things that are supposed to be done for you, to put you in a lower vibration. Gang stalking doesn't work without all of this. So I see people follow me around. Yes. Does it have an effect? No. Not at all. I just see people following me around. Am I scared of it? No. I just see them for what they are. People following me around. People who are frantic. People who have a job to get done. People who want to get me out of talking to people, getting people out of liking me, etc., etc., etc. It doesn't work without the anxiety, the fear, and the paranoia. You have to take yourself from out of a victim mentality, a person who has fear, a person who's being persecuted, to a very strategic person, a vigilante, a freedom fighter, a person who can make their own ammunition out of some coconut oil and some this and some that and throw it into a room and run out quickly. That's what you got to be. And God knows you don't need a lot of people like they have. You don't need a lot of people. You may need 2,000 people, workers, to build a building and only one to put a wrench in it. You may need 2,000 people to build a car and only one to put sugar in the tank. One that doesn't even know how the car functions. This is how it works. You only need one, and that one is you. You only need one. You only need one person to say, this is what these people do. This is how these people work. This is how they do what they're doing. Just one. Just one. So you already know how these people fight. These people have zero empathy or compassion whatsoever because money is money. They're being paid. It's fun. And when you're doing something in a group setting, it is so much nicer for everybody to look at everybody else and be like, oh my God, did you see that way that they fell in the puddle today as we were following them? Did you see how they were begging on the corner today? So you already know you have people you're dealing with who have zero empathy and compassion. And God allows you to see that part of them before it gets to the point you got to take the head off. God inundates you in this information, in this experience, so that when it is time, you never have to guess or be confused. You've seen them in their natural form, unmasked, because they thought you would never make it. So they showed you the dirtiest side of them. So you never have to worry about taking that head off and pitching it in front of your house, because you've seen what you needed to see. You've seen how they destabilize your defenses even before they attack you. They go into people's communities, into people's networks, people's neighbors. They make people move into your neighborhood if they can. They make people work all around you. They make people work at your workplace. They make people come work inside of your job. They want the access codes to the back door. They do all of the above. They do all of the above. And why do they do that? Because they want to make sure by the time you realize that you're in a fight, there's nowhere to turn. They've already turned your family members against you while you were still smiling and kikiing out there and thought everything was a good time. They've already turned the people that should be defending you, should be standing in your corner, should be fighting for you. They've confused these people about you. They've told so many lies, and not just one person telling lies, multiple people telling the same lie. People saying, yeah, I was there. I'm the witness. She did it to me. She's awful. If people are searching for your business online, they'll put something in the reviews. Lawsuit. They'll put something in the reviews that are fake. They'll harass you. They'll do things to you to discredit you, to defame your character. They'll do things to you. They'll put distractions in place when they can't stop you. You gotta learn how they fight. This is critical. How do you fight something that you cannot understand? You're fighting in the dark while you're blindfolded. You're just swinging here and there. You don't know what you're looking for. You gotta learn. You gotta take the blindfold off and you gotta face what you're fighting. Because once you understand it, it's a lot smaller. Once you understand something, it is a lot smaller. They drop bombs all around you to distract you from what the real objective is. The real thing we're trying to do is take you out of business. The real thing we're trying to do is have you homeless. But instead, we're going to get you in little meaningless conflicts with other people. We're trying to get you to stop working with people, so we're going to create little conflicts around you that mean nothing. We're going to make you fight with people that are unworthy of your attention. We're going to get you responding to things that are stupid. These are all just distractions to take you away from your objective. This is why it is extremely important to make sure you know what your objective is. It is extremely important to know what the end goal is. Beheading. We don't care about any of the extras. But it's going to be your job to drop bombs around them that distract them. Things that they're supposed to be paying attention to. This is a 360-degree attack on you. It is a full-scale attack. They attack every chakra, every part of your life. They attack everything all at once. The defenses are already destabilized. Now you're being distracted while they're throwing a wrench in everything that you have going on, everything that makes you happy, everything that makes you you. They're taking everything away from you so that when you look up, you only see wreckage. You don't even recognize when this happened. You don't recognize when your reputation was being destroyed, when they were coming for your business, when they were coming for your partnerships, when they were coming for your relationships. You don't recognize that. You're just out here fighting useless battles, being drawn into childish games, being childish, being ridiculous, doing things that didn't make sense to do in the first place. I'll explain something to you. Somebody here is concerned with taking people out of my lives, disabling engagement, trying to do spell work for me to have white hair, trying to make me tired. And to them, in their mind, it's doing something. But if you're in a spiritual battle and you want to make someone fat or have gray hair, you must acknowledge to yourself that you've lost this battle, because this is a meaningless fight. You must fight to win critical ground, not just any ground at all. What is this hollow satisfaction if that did happen? What does that do for you? While this person is winning critical battles, occupying critical ground, you're still fighting meaningless battles. Well, you said that. Well, I say this. Well, you said that. Well, I say this. Well, I'm the better one. I can do this. You don't bake bread. You don't. I'll explain that later. They plan to outnumber you and outmaneuver you, making more moves, having more people with them. And like I explained, you don't need all of that. You're a one-man show. You travel light. It's easier for you to travel that way anyways, because you eliminate liabilities around you. You understand your enemy to understand how to build a strategy. So now you have an objective or a goal. Then you have a strategy that you're building around understanding. Not just a strategy to have a strategy. It's built around truly understanding. Some people, these people, observe you from a place of bias. You're an N-word. That means you're ghetto and you're poor and you're stupid and you don't know anything and you only got things through selling drugs, which is what we're going to tell people. So we're not looking to understand you. We're looking to eliminate everything that disproves our bias. Our God complex makes us want to rebuild your character. We're going to ignore your intelligence. We're going to ignore your resilience. We're going to ignore your brilliance, your discipline, your self-love, your patience, your spiritual gifts and connection. We're going to ignore it because facing it, we've made this personal. This is not a job. This is personal. We envy you. And so we're going to be blinded. Not a thin veil, a brick wall. We're going to stand behind this brick wall and we're going to say it is like this because we said it's like this. You're not intelligent because we said so. And no matter what we see, we're going to deny it to ourselves and we're going to keep blundering forward, tripping over ourselves, making nonsense decisions, and leading an army into an inferno, following breadcrumbs on the floor, refusing to recognize reality no matter how many times it slams into our face that perhaps this is not going to work. We should probably turn back. We should give this up. But I have the feeling in my case, they try to give that money back early and they try to back out of it. I have a feeling that they did. They try to give the money back at some point. They tried to say that, like, look, this is not going to work. I don't think I could do this. Of course they did. There's just no way out. That's all. There's no way out of it. You got to stick to the fight that you started. That's it. It's going to be done when it's going to be done. Let's talk about the panoramic attack that they are putting on you. These people are doing multiple things at a time. They want everything to collapse all at the same time. So all chakras will be under attack. Your self-esteem, your self-image, your finances, your relationships, all your possessions, your money, everything. I talked about in other videos, the chakras, what they represent, the astrological houses that they are attached to, and how attacking every chakra dissolves those parts of your life. So you guys can go onto my page. I think it's under one of the playlists, and you can go ahead and look at that and see what that is. So everything is being attacked, from relationships and finances, your possessions, your health, your looks, your vitality, your will to live, your dreams, your life path, your spirituality, your fertility, which is your ability to create, whether as a person that's create life, create relationships, whatever it is, your fertility, your home, and your shelter. Everything is going to be attacked all at the same time. There is strategy behind this. It's almost like little groups are being formed, and they're like, you guys are on this, you guys are on this, you guys are on the business, you guys are on the home front, you guys are on all these things. And who we don't have, we're going to take the money we were paid and we're going to go bribe the others to join. Even if it's for one job here and there, that is how we're going to do this. They have you distracted and fighting ghosts, which is basically everyone around you. They always want you in some type of conflict with people. Even if you remove yourself, there's some type of thing that someone has to say. You don't talk to anyone. You don't take pictures with anyone. You don't have group chats with anyone. And yet still, they still have your name in their mouth saying something or the other. They want you fighting ghosts. There's a lot of fights you just gotta ignore. It's not worth your time. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to clear things up. Things will be cleared up at the right time. It doesn't matter what people are saying. You walk away. Walk away from anything that doesn't have to do with your objective. Perfect distraction. Jongle Krongle. You hear about the mutant dog they found down in Gruesome Gulch? They were calling him the checkered demon. This profile comes here and says the exact same thing every single live. There's not a live that this same profile does not come here to say. It is distraction. Is it worthy fighting them? And what? That's what they're looking for. This is what they're looking for. You gotta ignore nonsense. They're gonna do things like ties that they've planted into your life, like baby mamas and baby daddies, and these people get activated, the fake friendships get activated, the fake networks get activated. All of these things get activated on you, and these people start turning on you because the same people who brought them in are now turning them on and turning them against you. They complain about you, they talk bad about people until you somehow get personally involved in their fights. And this is how they work. This is how they slowly turn you into a gang stalker. Daisy Porras used to do this all the time. Oh my God, I don't like this lash tech. They did this and they did that. What the hell does that have to do with me? And at the same time, you should go to my lash girl. Are we doing both? Are we promoting their services while chopping them down to size? That's how they work. That's how they work. They work that middle path. They walk that middle path. You would wonder, well, how do they get people to hate you and at the same time come into your space? So now when they come into your space and they've already observed you, they're like, oh, well, they don't even have a fan for the lashes. I don't think that's legal. Babe, you should make a report. And here your dumbass is on Google making a report about someone getting involved in other people's karma. Being an unsuspecting gang stalker. Adding to other people's persecutions. There are so many people that have gone through this gang stalking thing in my city. They want to destabilize my Instagram by any means necessary so people don't see everything that these people have covertly done. They want to start legal reports on you. They want to get you in legal trouble. They want things like, you know, in their opinion, if it's real, it's better. But if it's not, then who cares? It's the same thing. They create fake drama around you, fighting with people you don't even know or care about. And if it has to come from lies, oh, well, this person said this and this about you. People you don't even know about, apparently you're talking about. They do all this type of nonsense. Old debts pop back up from 10 years ago. Nonsense that's not even actionable comes back into your life. Health issues start popping up. Tax issues start popping up. Things that when they start, it's like your heart starts beating, because now you can't even focus around the things that you actually need to take care of. You're running off to this and running off to that. You start working, calls come in, text messages come in, different things start happening. And you don't know where all of this is coming from all of a sudden. And a bunch of these are coming, and these things are coming in, and it's like some of these, it's like you can't blame somebody in the 3D for causing a health issue necessarily. This is a 5D issue. Where did this start all of a sudden? Could it have started from the stress? Could it have started from all of the nonsense that's been going on? Who knows? Unexpected bills and expenses start roping you in. All of a sudden, you have very expensive things that you have to do. All of a sudden, a tree falls into your roof. All of a sudden, there's flooding in your home. All of a sudden, a fire breaks out. All kinds of things start happening. Like, where is all of this coming from? This is the kind of stuff that happens while you're being gang stalked. This is the kind of stuff that you must shield yourself from spiritually. You must clear your space. You must clear your environment. You must stay prayed up. This is the kind of nonsense that comes to distract you. All of a sudden, you are just buried and burdened in problems, in nonsense, and you still have an objective. So you have an objective to break free, but to also stay on your feet. So you have to protect every chakra, but you can't always ignore these issues. You can't ignore tax issues. You can't ignore health issues. You can't ignore reports. You have to do something about this. You have to close these cycles. You have to close these gates up. These things have to be addressed. So now you got to become really good at discerning, well, what is worth my attention? What is worth me responding to? What is worth me paying attention to and investigating it, and when? Perhaps there is an issue, but is it worth doing it now while I'm doing something else, something completely different? Or is this worth maybe waiting an hour or two until I'm done what I'm doing right now, and then I'll focus on it after? You have to come to the conclusion of what you're going to deal with, when you're going to deal with it, and how you're going to deal with it. Timing is also very important, which I talk about all the time. And that's a big thing, is divine timing. You also realizing, using logic and common sense, like when is a good time for me to act or react on things. All of this requires strategy, because that's also the way that they're dealing with you, is with a lot of strategy. They're being very particular about the way they're doing things. They're being very particular about when they're doing things, and they always store up certain things. You got to let them unload the clip. There's always something that they try to have in their back pocket, like when this happens, I'll do this, and when that happens, I'll do that. There's always some sort of strategy somewhere that somebody has in the back pocket. They want you to react too quickly, overreact, address nonsense, especially overreact, and overreact publicly, as if everything that happens around you is some sort of emergency. So you have to be careful, you have to be focused, and you have to be diligent in everything that you do. You have to sit down, maybe with paper and pen, and you have to make 3D plans. You have to make prayers that are strategic and align them with plans that are strategic. Marry the two in time and in order. What do you want and why? How is this going to go about? How are you going to utilize your energy? That is what strategy is about. You're fighting a very pervasive energy, a very strategic energy. So you have to go in as well with strategy. It means taking some time to sit down and not just being reactive to everything, really taking your time and planning it out. I have another post, it's called Strategic Prayer. If you can't find it in one of the playlists, then go ahead and just search it on the channel, but I think it's in a playlist called of Tools of Healing. And if it's not in that playlist, then it would be in definitely one of the lives. It's one of the more recent lives that I've done. So you can go through that video and see what kind of prayers that I recommend people pray. You're the only person that can come up with your prayers. Other people can't do that for you. You're the only one that could come up with what makes sense to pray for yourself. And it's a very private thing. It's a personal thing. Someone can't tell you what to pray. When I talk about all the chakras, now I'm gonna maybe have to do another live, because sometimes I do different lives going over the same things over and over, talking about the particular chakras and what they align to. So, you know, the root chakra has to do obviously with your finances and your possession. The sacral chakra, I think has to do with ideation, creativity, creation, creating. Solar plexus is a little like sacral. I wanna think sacral. I don't even have anything written here for it, so I'm gonna skip it for now until I can come with a good live and I can give really good information about it. Heart chakra is your ability to love, ability to connect spiritually with higher forces, ability to feel and to connect with people. Throat chakra, your voice, your social influence, your ability to defend yourself, your ability to speak up for yourself. Your third eye is your ability to discern, your intuition, your ability to strategize, your ability to work with spirit. And your crown, obviously, you know, connection with spirit, prayer. All of this is under attack, all of it. So these are the things that you have to protect in the spirit. You have to protect in the physical, because these are the things that are coming at you. You got to work on this. You need to discern what things you are going to ignore, what effects of their attacks you're going to ignore, and what things you're not going to ignore. And you got to start thinking about what things are worth, what fires are worth me putting out, and what things are just, it's okay to let it burn to the ground. In my particular case, there are a lot of relationships that I said, let it burn. Like, I don't need it. I'm not going to chase. As a matter of fact, I'm cutting off relationships. I'm cutting off access to me. If something comes that something's worth dealing with, you know, a tax issue, you owe tax money, or, you know, an issue with survival or with your health, obviously you got to take care of those things. But there's some things you don't have to deal. When you start seeing all the stupid Google reviews, you don't have to chase all of that. Just let it be what it is. You know, you will take care of those things as time goes by. There are some things that are just not worth it. Is it worth it for me if somebody does spell work for me to have gray hair to try to fix that? Not really. Because what am I going to get out of it? Where's the ROI? Who cares? In the middle of these attacks that are happening, in the middle of people dropping bombs around you and you discerning, what am I going to take care of? What am I not going to take care of? What am I going to pay attention to? What am I not going to pay attention to? In the middle of you looking at, when am I going to do this? How am I going to align this with strategic prayer? You're also going to look at, I also need to grow as a person. I also need to have strategic growth in my life. I also need to look at progressing my life in the middle of this attack. I'm not going to let time stand still and pass me by while I'm fighting. If I have to grow and develop myself as a person, grow and develop my career, my business, if I have to educate myself, if I have to refine myself, whatever I have to do, I'm going to keep doing that, regardless of what is going on around me. So these are things that you do not, people want to distract you from your growth. They want to distract you from the main purpose of what you're supposed to be doing. And in the beginning, it does. Usually every attack in the beginning has some sort of effect on you, and you got to continue going through it. You have to continue moving through, growing, keep doing your growth work, keep moving, keep doing your soul work, keep looking at yourself. And like I always talk about, healing past wounds, healing things that you have to in order to grow out of this cycle, because this is a cycle and you don't want to get trapped here. You don't want to work against yourself. These people are trying to distract you from doing the work that you need to do to evolve out of this cycle, and you got to get out. So regardless of who's doing their work, you got to focus on you. Yes, this is a lot of balls in the air at the same time. You're fighting against an enemy that has more people than you, that is trying to outmaneuver you, that's destabilized defenses that are supposed to be in coming to your assistance. You're in a situation where you're putting out particular fires and waiting for the correct time to do so. And you still have to take care of yourself and keep building and keep moving on. It's a lot of balls in the air, so this is not for the weak. Breaking out of this cycle is not for the weak, but once you're in this cycle, I believe that God doesn't put you in situations where you're ill-equipped to get out of them. You have been equipped with what you need to get out of it. And when the first attack works on you, you better make sure that it doesn't work twice. You better make sure that you graduate out of that situation and you continue to move forward. You need to continue educating yourself, learning and growing from attacks that have come your way. You do not need to tackle every issue, like I've said. You need to cultivate an environment that is peaceful around you, that is harmonious. You need to block out chaos. You need to do things that create a sense of peace and zen, and that bombs are going to go off around you, but you're going to barricade yourself from experiencing that very close, that you're going to create an environment where things do not come close to you. And you need to start closing doors to attacks. A lot of these things are in other videos that I've put up, so please go to these other videos and just take a look at different things that I talk about. I have a playlist called Informational Resources that gives really, really good information about how you do a lot of these things. What happens in this situation is people attacking you realize that it's not easy to attack you, and they get binded in time. They get binded to a cycle that you're evolving and growing out of. You've left them in the cycle and you've ran off. You're going towards your future. You're going to, with your gray hair, with your, pimples, if that's what they want you to have, with everything that people are fighting for you to have. You're headed towards your future with all of that, and you're moving on. They're still trying to gang stalk you and follow you all around, and it's not working. Even though they know where you are and they're surrounded you on the streets, it's not having the effect that it's supposed to, because you're not anxious, you're not paranoid, you know what's happening, and you don't really care. You can say hello to gang stalkers, you can greet them. You're not afraid of them. These are just people with no morals and no scruples. It has no effect on you anymore. This is an energetic, spiritual thing. These people are still in this cycle, but you're outside of it. And you being outside of it, what difference does it make? There is no difference it makes if you say good morning to a gang stalker or not. You're no longer there. You're already moving around freely, and they're just following you as you move around freely. You're not even hiding it. You're not even running. You're just doing what it is that you want to do. You're not quickly running off anymore from place to place. You're taking your time casually going about your day. You're out of this cycle. While they're still slandering you, you've already publicly stripped them naked and taken off their mask, and people know who they are. People know what's going on. People know who they are. So if people look you up, all they get is all the information about what these people have done to you. So say, for example, if they do something, where they want, if people search your brand, that here comes this video slandering you. Well, the people clicking it now know that there's something going on with you because you're complaining about something, and that video might be the one that pushes the curiosity of other people to find out what's going on. There must be something going on with this brand outside of what we're being told. Let's go investigate. Everything they do works in your benefit. While they're still planting evidence, manufacturing things, they're being investigated, they're being looked into, they're being shunned. People are digging a little bit deeper into their stories while they're still trying to manufacture nonsense around you. While they're still pulling up old debts and old issues to cultivate, the IRS or the CIA or the CRA is putting their boxing gloves on, putting together a case, digging deep, pulling up documents from years ago, comparing and contrasting, looking at oddities. This is odd. This is a red flag. This doesn't make sense. While they're pulling up old debts, they have debts with maybe COVID loans that they have no intention of paying back or cannot pay back. Maybe we need to compare tax information. They're planting evidence and they're going to need more than one lawyer. Maybe they're going to need a tax lawyer. The accountant is going to be implicated. The accounting firm is going to be implicated. All kinds of things are happening while these people are trying to put you in a situation where they bind you up. They themselves are still fighting an old fight. And they don't know what type of storm is brewing. While these people are still using old tactics that you've already analyzed, mastered, and evolved from, you're on the way to a new world. And these people are still fighting old energies and old demons, wasting their energies, doing things that doesn't make sense, instead of actually taking care of the elephant in the room. Don't want to face the tax debt. They don't want to face the other debts that they owe. They don't want to face any of that. It's easier just to face you because you still look like the easiest of all the enemies to beat. So these people end up bound up like this to a whole bunch of commitments. Let me explain to you what these commitments look like. This one up here, this is divorce. This is child support. This is this one right here. This is tax documents that were forged. This is tax debts. This is liens on properties. This is properties that they can't keep. This right here is past crimes that are coming back up, fake old things that are being investigated. This one right here holding their arm back is addictions, narcissism, and God complexes. This one right here is dangerous street gangs that they owe. These are people that are looking for them, that are hunting them down. This one is police investigations that are going on that they are no longer privy to. These are networks of people that they can no longer negotiate with, people that are publicly denying them. This is businesses that are shutting down, being out of a job, being able to take care of themselves. Severed familial relationships, people that would have normally defended them. This is homelessness and poverty. This is no protection whatsoever. This is your ancestors having people bind it up. This, my friends, I don't know what I'm gonna call this video. This is how you use strategy to launch bombs in the enemy's camps. This is the purpose of launching the bombs in the enemy's camps in order to release yourself. Because fighting a calm enemy, fighting an enemy that does not look like this, when you're outnumbered, is a waste of your God-given time. If the enemy does not look like this, because they want you to look like this is their intention, for you to look like this. If you cannot do the old switcheroo and get yourself out of this, then you're going to be stuck for a long time, continuously losing. This is how you fight gang stalkers, part 1. And I keep not being able to get to part 2 because this video is so long that I cannot even finish the video, but I'm gonna finish it because I'm gonna give you guys strategies, and this is called 100 bombs to drop to disturb their peace. Sorry. So in the meantime, you have to understand why strategy, why taking your time, what you're trying to accomplish, how you're trying to accomplish it, how you conserve your energy, and how you're going to go ahead and do this. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I forgot to pull a spirit messages card, which is messages from spirit. I forgot to pull this yesterday. These are my favorite oracle cards. These are messages from spirit, and I love, who doesn't love a good message from spirit? So these are, this to me is like what spirit wants to say. These are some of the most encouraging cards, and I should do a spirit message card at the end of every video, but some videos go so long and sometimes I forget. So slow down and take your time. There is no need to rush everything. You're already doing your part. Trust that what belongs in your life is already making its way towards you in divine timing, in divine timing. Listen, I used to rush with my business. I used to rush with a whole bunch of stuff, and I felt like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. It is not going to happen before it's time either way, but you got to do your part. So now I work smart. Now I put better work out than just flying off and putting any kind of work. I take my time and I try to do a better job. You got to relax through the process. You put out better work in a relaxed environment than just rushing to rush to make people think that you're getting something done. The second card is you are feeling somewhat confused by the events that are unfolding around you and the various seemingly contradictory information that is coming your way. Trust your instincts and do what they are telling you to do, and you will learn a lot about yourself and the direction you want to take your life. Whatever that means for anybody listening to it, this is a journey that you got to take with God. This is a journey that's going to make you closer to God, so you got to embark on that, you know, with your gut, with God. And then the message on the bottom of this deck, for whatever reason this is flipped over, it's saying, what areas of your life are you avoiding? Are they causing you upset, worry, disrupted sleep? If so, these are the areas you need to focus on. As much as you don't want to do it, it is necessary to tackle your demons head on. Don't allow them to rule you for a second longer. I always talk about attacking. You got to attack this enemy. You can't sit here and think that things are going to take control of themselves, that things are going to work for themselves. That is very important. By the way, there's 5 people in the live. I really would appreciate a like. It helps the channel grow. It helps other people get access to the information. I always talk about the fact that my devices are hacked. So would love a like, a share, you know, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I love giving an amazing information. So the crystal that came for the day, this is not the first time this crystal has come out, but it needs to come out anyway. This is called Dumortierite. Dumortierite. It's the crystal of understanding your soul journey. It's a past life revealer, and the vibration is high to extremely high. This crystal activates past life memories, accessing the Akashic record and the interlife, taking you to examine contracts, promises, and agreements operating over eons of time. It renegotiates these, rescinding ties and vows that no longer serve. Pinpointing patterns that underlie addictions and obsessive contacts. This stone highlights why you choose to learn through difficulties and challenges in toxic relationships. This crystal breaks a cycle of karmic codependency, facilitating the realization that it is not possible to control addiction, needy, or self-destructive behavior on somebody else's behalf. On the body, it influences psychosomatics and cellular memory, and in the mind, it instills self-confidence, supports courage, and fosters patience and self-love. That is the crystal for the day. I'm going to put it in the description box of this live. And that is the end of my live. This live is going to be a part 1 to another live that I'm doing. And for whatever reason, I keep doing other lives before I do that live, but I know that there's a reason for that. So I may or may not even do that other live today because I don't like when things keep getting delayed. But yeah, thank you for everybody that hung in there. Please drop a like. Please subscribe to the channel if this is your first time. Subscribe and have yourself a wonderful day.